In 1947, the British Empire packed its bags and left the Indian subcontinent, but not before drawing a line in the sand. This was the partition, a moment that carved out two new nations, India and Pakistan. It was a birth steeped in violence and displacement, and it immediately set the stage for a rivalry that would define South Asia for generations. At the heart of this conflict was, and still is, the beautiful, contested region of Jammu and Kashmir. This initial clash over Kashmir wasn't a one-off event. It was just the first chapter in a long history of confrontation. Over the next few decades, India and Pakistan would fight three more major wars in 1965, 1971, which led to the birth of Bangladesh, and 1999 in the mountains of Kargil. These wars weren't just about territory. They were about national identity, ideology, and a deep-seated mistrust that seemed to grow with each conflict. Even in times of so-called peace, military standoffs and border skirmishes became a grim routine, keeping the entire region on a knife's edge, especially after both nations developed nuclear weapons in the late 90s. But history isn't just about conflict. Amidst the tension, there were glimmers of hope for cooperation. In 1985, a landmark moment arrived with the creation of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, or SAARC. Leaders from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, the Maldives, and Bhutan came together with a vision of a more integrated and prosperous South Asia. The goal was to put aside political differences and work together on economic, social, and cultural issues. For a moment, it felt like a new era was dawning, a chance to build bridges instead of walls. But the shadow of the India-Pakistan rivalry loomed large, often paralyzing SAARC's progress and preventing it from reaching its full potential. Beyond the India-Pakistan dynamic, the rest of South Asia was forging its own complex web of relationships. Sri Lanka, an island nation to the south, navigated its own devastating civil war, with its relationship with India often being a delicate balancing act of cooperation and concern over perceived interference. Bangladesh, born out of a war for independence from Pakistan, naturally developed closer ties with India, its ally in that struggle. However, issues like water sharing from transboundary rivers and border management have remained persistent challenges. Landlocked Nepal, sandwiched between India and China, has historically tried to balance its dependence on India for trade and transit with its desire for greater strategic autonomy. These smaller nations have constantly had to maneuver between the region's giants, protecting their own interests while navigating the turbulent geopolitical currents. As we moved into the 21st century, a new, powerful player began to reshape the entire map of South Asia, China. No longer a distant neighbor, China started making its presence felt in a huge way, primarily through its wallet and its grand strategic vision. The flagship project is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, a massive network of roads, railways, and pipelines that physically and economically links China to the Arabian Sea through Pakistan. It's been hailed by them as a game changer, but for India, it's a major strategic headache, as it runs through territory India also claims. But China's influence doesn't stop there. It has poured billions into Sri Lanka, building ports, and infrastructure, which has led to concerns about debt-trap diplomacy when Sri Lanka struggled to repay its loans. From Nepal to Bangladesh to the Maldives, Chinese investment is flowing in, offering an alternative to traditional partnerships and pulling these nations deeper into Beijing's orbit. So, where does that leave South Asia today? The picture is one of stark contrasts. On one hand, you have a region brimming with potential, a young, dynamic population and growing economies. On the other, it remains one of the least integrated regions in the world. Intra-regional trade is shockingly low, hobbled by tariffs, political mistrust, and poor connectivity. The promise of SAARC feels more distant than ever, with summits often postponed due to political squabbles. Instead of cooperating, the major powers are locked in a strategic competition that spills over into every aspect of life, from economics to culture. The old rivalries continue to simmer, now complicated by the ambitions of external powers. The future of South Asia hinges on whether its nations can finally find a way to look past their historical grievances and work together, or if they will remain prisoners of a divided past. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown of South Asian geopolitics interesting, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you in the next one.